Joe Biden has good news for all of you American citizens struggling with high gas prices and a crippled economy, failing supply chains, airlines basically canceling tons of flights. The good news is we will not rest. Gas prices will remain high for as long as it takes until Ukraine wins. Because we all know that you, working class Joe or Jane, at home trying to fill up your gas tank, are mostly concerned with Ukraine. You don't need dental care. You don't need to get groceries. You don't need a job. You just need to know deep down in your heart of hearts that Joe Biden is doing everything so that you can sacrifice your comfort, stability, and safety for Ukraine. Bravo. Here's the real story. The New York Post. High gas prices to last as long as it takes for Ukraine victory. You betcha. American drivers will have to endure high gas prices for as long as it takes. At the conclusion of this week's NATO summit in Madrid, the president was asked by New York Times reporter Jim Tankersley about the surging price of oil as a result of Western sanctions on Russia in response to its February 24th assault. Quote, "The war has pushed prices up. Oil could go as high as $200 a barrel, some analysts think. How long is it fair to expect American drivers and drivers around the world to pay that premium for this war? As long as it takes," Biden answered. "Russia cannot, in fact, defeat Ukraine and move beyond Ukraine. This is a critical position for the world. Come on, man. Here we are. Why do we have NATO? I told Putin that, in fact, if we were to move against Ukraine, we would move to strengthen NATO. We would move to strengthen NATO across the board." During his 26-minute presser, Biden also reiterated his administration's stance that the spike in energy and food prices around the world is primarily the consequence of the Russian invasion, which has constricted wheat deliveries from Ukraine, as well as oil and natural gas deliveries to Europe. The bottom line is, ultimately, the reason why gas prices are up is because of Russia. Russia. Oh, Russia, huh, Biden? The reason why the food crisis exists is because of Russia. I think there's going to be a civil war in this country because you can't just come out and say stuff like that when gas in LA is nearing $8, when nationwide it's at $5 and regular people are struggling. You can't just come out and be like, I'm going to make sure you sacrifice everything you have so that my son Hunter can be on the board of Burisma and get $83,000 per month. I know the timeline doesn't make sense, but you get my point. Is this what it's really about? Joe Biden cutting deals, quid pro quo, this and that, tit for tat? Yeah, I'll tell you this. Joe Biden, he's delivering tons of hot cash to Ukraine. Kind of wonder why, right? What's the strategic value of Ukraine? Well, perhaps it's because Europe needs natural gas and Russia uses Ukraine, but it can't just be that, can it? Maybe it's a big part of it. You know, Qatar-Turkey pipeline, U.S. special interests, all of that stuff. And then you get Hunter Biden on the board of Burisma. $83,000 per month, they reported. The company, their founder, Mykola Zlochevsky, being investigated by a prosecutor named Viktor Shokin. And then Joe Biden, seemingly as a coincidence, he says, goes to Ukraine and says, if you want the $1 billion loan guarantees, you got to fire the prosecutor. Joe, you don't have the authority to do that. Oh, wait, that's what the president of Ukraine said. And he says, call the president, see what he says. Quid pro quo. And now here we are being made sure that you sacrifice everything. I'm going to tell you why I think there's going to be a civil war for a variety of reasons. But I also think it's because the situation we have here in the United States is it's untenable. Big blue cities. It's like the Hunger Games. You've seen the Hunger Games. I love my pop culture references. Where in the capital, people are wearing ridiculous clothing and they're drinking Ipecac to vomit so they can eat more. Which I never understood, to be honest, because if I ate a whole bunch of food to the point where I was really sick and wanted to barf, and then I ingested Ipecac and barfed, I would not feel like eating. It'd be painful. Who wants to? Have you ever barfed before? Of course you have. Do you want to eat right afterwards? I never understood that. But here's what I see. I see regular people struggling. I see this struggle so intense that polls are shifting so heavily for Republicans, it's shattering records because regular people are suffering. They're suffering. They're worried that the lives of their children will be worse than the lives of their parents or their lives, that they won't be able to give them anything. So when Joe Biden comes out and says this, I want you to consider where we are as a nation. Joe Biden wants you to sacrifice. Now, I'm assuming most of the people who are watching this video, you are not well off. You're probably not getting paid six figures. That's not the median in this country. And it is the Democrats that are the party of the wealthy elites. Makes sense. Take a look at these cities. I want to show you a video of a day in the life of a 22-year-old employee at LinkedIn that's going viral to explain why I think this country will get torn apart. Because you cannot have wealthy urban centers living in excess while they vote away the rights of the poor working class. Let's talk about what it means to be bourgeois or proletariat. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com. I'm going to do a shout out for the website because we really want to drive those memberships. Before we show this video, head over to timcast.com, subscribe, become a member to support our work because you know what? I'm deeply inspired by the Daily Wire, and I want to do documentaries too. We want to expand our offerings. We've got a bunch of shows, but we need more. We have 5 shows. Chicken City is on the website because it's a bit too different. Chicken City is actually fairly profitable, though. As a member, you'll get access to exclusive Timcast IRL shows, the podcast Monday through Thursday at 11 p.m., uncensored, not very family friendly. You'll be supporting our expansion. We got documentaries coming, so please go to timcast.com and sign up to become a member to support our work. Let me show you this video that I saw going viral. I want you to watch this, and then I want you to think about what Joe Biden is saying about your gas prices. Day in my life as a 22-year-old living in Chicago working in tech. Please do not punch your monitor screens when you see this.
Today was one of those days where you leave for work at 7 a.m. and you don't get back until past midnight. I left for work early for a 9 a.m. meeting that was conveniently canceled right beforehand. But luckily I got to the lobby and there were these eucalyptus towels waiting for me, which is really nice, and some fresh orange water, which I of course took before taking the elevator up to the office.
Okay. This user on Twitter mentions that this woman is getting $24 an hour. So I want you to consider already. She comes in at 9 a.m. with a eucalyptus wrap for her face and some orange water. She's getting $24 an hour. They put mint in the melon.
I grabbed some breakfast, normal oatmeal and chia seed pudding, and
Oatmeal and chia seed pudding and finally got LinkedIn mugs.
We got LinkedIn mugs in the office, which I'm so excited about, and prepped some LinkedIn content. Then I found out that the wall art that we have in the office is made out of recycled trees from Chicago, which was so cool, fun fact. And then it was time for our company all hands, so I grabbed our drink of the day, which is a blackberry mojito, and headed downstairs to the all hands.
Is she legit drinking alcohol midday? A blackberry mojito? That's alcoholic. In the middle of the day.
All hands, so I
guess.
grabbed our drink of the day, which is a blackberry mojito, and headed downstairs to the all hands room with some of my coworkers. There weren't that many people there, but listen to them sing Mamma Mia.
Yeah, listen to them sing Mamma Mia. Yep, everyone's clapping and singing Mamma Mia
Anyways,
at
we
work.
love that song. We grabbed some lunch because we were starving after that. There was this cool little dish, and I grabbed a chai latte before heading to work. Watched some of my coworkers play ping pong. And then
watch some of her coworkers play ping pong and then went to
tried out a new quiet room, which is a really nice area to just relax and unplug from work. Then it was time to buckle down. I had to get certified in our new marketing lab certification on LinkedIn, so I did that and just sat in our focus area for a while. I grabbed a snack after I was hungry, and then I finished off the rest of my work before getting an email announcing the next team that I'll be joining through my BLP program. It was really exciting news. I'm going to be joining a marketing team. Work was finally over. It was hot as hell, so we went to go get some drinks in Lincoln Park before heading to a housewarming party for one of our coworkers. Here we are. There was banana.
After this, I got no issues. Look, this young woman living her best life. She's done nothing wrong. I take no issue with how she lives, and I take no issue with what life is like at these tech companies. At work, her friends are playing ping pong. At work, she has a quiet room where she can close the door and just kind of relax. Here's why I think it's relevant and why I think this country is going to get ripped apart. I've said this many times. Wealth disparity, income inequality destabilizes nations. I know many on the right don't often talk about that. I've talked about it quite a bit, why I think wealth inequality is a problem. Steve Bannon talks about how you're getting ripped off because the wealthiest aren't paying taxes. They're not paying they should pay more. I mean, that's what Steve Bannon said. You're getting ripped off. When Joe Biden comes out and says gas prices are going to be are going to be up as long as it takes. Come on, man. You know, regular working people who don't live the way this 22-year-old woman does, well, they're struggling. They can't make ends meet. Businesses have staff shortages. Hiring is very, very difficult. And people are just generally having a hard time of things. I see these posts on Facebook all the time. People are like, I'm struggling. I really need help. People are posting GoFundMes like, please, please help me. You know, I can't pay my rent, things like that. So there are poor people in this country who are struggling. There's Joe Biden saying, too bad. And then what happens with the poor people is they see this young 22-year-old woman who works in tech getting $24 an hour and eucalyptus wraps and orange water and lunch. I've been to Google. Let me tell you about these places. It's the capital of the Hunger Games. You go to Google. Look, I don't think work environments should suck. I think if the businesses have the ability to make things comfortable, they should. But there is an issue when you have poor people struggling and they can't afford gas. And then you have in big cities where these people vote away your rights, living in absolute luxury, dancing and just sitting back and, work is so hard. I don't get paid enough. The government should forgive my student loans and take the money from the poor people. Let me add that to the mix. These people, no, I'm not saying this young woman necessarily. I don't know her life outside of she gave us a glimpse into what appears to be LinkedIn's offices in Chicago. But this is typical of so many of these young people getting paid $24 an hour and then saying things like, I can't afford to pay back my loans. The government should take the money from the poors to pay off my debts. That's right. The Democrats in blue cities are demanding, people like AOC, that Joe Biden tax the poor to pay off the debts of the highest income earners on average in this country. And they live like this. It's remarkable to me that I don't see how this is sustainable at all. Because sooner or later, someone's going to lose their mind and just be like, how is this how they live? Why do I have to work two jobs? When I look at somebody who's working at McDonald's or the gas station or the car wash, and they're getting paid $15 an hour, and they're struggling. And then you look at this. You just have to ask yourself, why me and why her? A serious question. Now, you may be jealous of this young woman. I truly believe that hard work pays off. And I'm not trying to impugn the honor or integrity of this young woman. She's appeared to have done nothing wrong at all. I want to make sure that's clear. And some people are showing off like her partying with her friends. I got no issue with that. We don't know the degree to which she did work that day. She was just showing the in-between stuff. But I know this feeling growing up poor, asking myself why it is that the best I could do from where I was working as a barback. And that I knew people who were lazier, angrier, more egotistical, who were being given these opportunities. And thus you get class resentment. There really is a caste system in this country. And a lot of people don't understand this. Now, you and I, we believe in personal responsibility, individual rights and liberties, and we're not so keen on being jealous of other people. I'm certainly not jealous of this woman, although many of you are probably rolling your eyes at the idea that you work at this place for 24 hours and you can sit around getting your chai lattes or whatever. That's not who we are. But there are people who are like that. There are people who don't like the idea that they slave over a hot stove or a gas station pump or a car wash. And other people live in luxury for no reason, for just literally no reason other than the circumstances of your birth. Now, those people may be angry, but you know where all of us kind of get mad? When these people are living this way and Joe Biden comes out, these people having voted for him, and he says, too bad, $5 a gallon gas. Now, of course, $5 a gallon gas will negatively impact this young woman as well, but she's not really driving. She lives in a city, so it's not that big of an impact for her. She gets a lot of her, so much for her is taken care of by the workplace. They expense it. And you, the hardworking American, are left holding the bag. That's where people begin to lose it. I want to tell you about the American caste system. In the U.S., some people are born to well-off families. And by virtue of being born to a well-off family, they have more access to people who have money, and thus they're more likely to have money as they get older. That's just a reality. And I don't think you got to cry about it. You can work hard and you can find upward mobility. I certainly did. And that's why America is great, because class exists everywhere. But in the United States, upward mobility is a thing. In the United States, however, just so you know, I know people who were born into rich families, did nothing, did not work hard at all, and then were given jobs like this where they're making tons of money. And the issue arises not because their parents generated wealth for them, but because they then go and vote away your rights, and they want you to pay their debts. That's where the system starts to break down. They voted for Joe Biden. They don't care. They're not dealing with the damage as much as you are. You have to pay $5 a gallon for gas. And it's because how they voted. Joe Biden wants you to sacrifice. Joe Biden wants critical race theory for your kids. And it is these people living in the capitals, in the big cities, in luxury, not always, that are doing it. It is the white progressives who work at these jobs who are voting for it. And therein lies the big problem. Now, for me, growing up, what I said was, look, I don't care what these people do. I eventually end up meeting more and more people of wealth and means. And they have nothing for you other than their family has friends and they get access and they get these things. Legacy children and things like that. I'm not mad at any of these people. I don't blame them for being born wealthy like many of these far leftists do. I do, however, blame everyone for voting for Joe Biden and then making everything kind of suck for everyone. So that's what I see when I see this video. Day drinking. Seriously? Blueberry mint mojito? That's booze. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not a big drinker. But it sounds like she's day drinking at work. It's just crazy to me. These are the people who are voting for the most broken, absurd, and psychotic policies that make regular working class people suffer. And this is what Marx talked about. Marx talked about the bourgeoisie. That's the middle class, not the working class. This woman, that's what it is. Middle class people, not the ultra wealthy. The proletariat were the people who were chopping down trees and mining for coal and doing the labor to make this machine work. He wasn't wrong about everything, but he was kind of stupid because he himself was just like a snooty racist rich kid, right? He pointed out some things that I think are fair observations. A system will not survive with a class of people stripping away the rights of the workers, those who break their backs every day and are struggling. It's not going to survive. You will get a Hunger Games type scenario. What we're seeing now is the Great Resignation. And this is going to be interesting, how this plays out. We had this woman over at CNN quit. She said, I was tired of being tired. I am part of the Great Resignation, giving up the early morning grind and moving home to Ohio. Interesting. Maybe we'll see more and more people just get away from these systems and say there's more meaning in life elsewhere than the rat race. But the Great Resignation, I think, is only possible because of the wealth and luxury these people already have. This lady can just quit her job. How many people can just quit their job? Not very many. The Great Resignation, more so, is that people of wealth and means are realizing they don't need to work when you're already well off. Now, for this woman and for many other women, those that are seeking to have families, that I understand. And if the guy is working, it's different, right? You're still putting in work. You're still seeking out your purpose. My point here is this video is going viral. 6,194 quote tweets showing the day in the life of this city tech worker. And it is absolute gluttony and luxury. And I don't blame businesses for providing that. But how can the system survive when these people voted in Joe Biden? When these people voted in the man who is telling you, poor working class proletariat, to sacrifice as long as it takes for his Ukraine victory. Likely because he was doing corrupt dealings in the country. That quid pro quo. I love it. The media, these fact checkers like to try and fact check me on all whatever stupid nonsense they can, but they never come after me about the Joe Biden Burisma stuff. Yeah, you don't want to reignite that flame, do you? Joe Biden is engaged in a quid pro quo, in my opinion. That's what it sounds like. And you will pay the price as long as it takes for Joe Biden and his family to gut the system and laugh as you struggle, as long as it takes. And don't worry. Somewhere in Chicago, a 22-year-old tech worker is sipping on a blackberry mojito, having just proudly posted a virtue signal on Twitter about how they voted for Joe Biden. And that's why I think the system is broken. But you know what? Far be it from me to tell anybody how to do anything, huh? I decided I'm not going to be jealous of these people. I'm just going to live my life, and I'm going to find my own purpose. And I think things are working out really well, and it's thanks to all of you. If you like the fact that I am speaking out against Joe Biden, or if you like the things that I have to say, support our work at timcast.com. We're doing what we can to build a culture that rejects these ideas to the best of our abilities. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.